You're making a huge mistake if you only learn the intro to Slow Dancing in a Burning Room. The flashy part is always the intro of the song, right? You've seen it all over YouTube and Instagram with guitar players covering it. But the verses contain what you need to learn: pro chord-lick-chord phrasing, because there aren't many players better at this technique than John Mayer. He's sneaking tiny melodic ideas in between chords, and that's the part most guitar players completely miss. We're going to take a look at the verse lines of Slow Dancing in a Burning Room today so that you can get some of this pro-level chord-lick-chord ideas into your own playing, and I'm going to show you exactly how you can move it around so that you can use it whenever you want. Before we jump into this, I want to make sure you get all the diagrams and the backing track totally free. I want you to have all the resources you need to get the most out of this lesson. So just click the link in the description below or above right now, and let's get into this. So here's the first two measures of the verse. So the first thing we need to know is what key we're in, all right? We're in C sharp minor. So let's take a look at the chords. But we've got C sharp minor right here for a whole measure, A, and then we've got E, okay? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. But he's obviously not playing that. That's what most people do when they go to the verse after they learn the flashy intro, right? What we want to do is take a look at exactly what he's doing here. Well, we've got a C sharp minor triad out of this E minor shape of C sharp, all right? So we're right here in our box one C sharp minor pentatonic that everybody loves, all right? It outlines this E minor shape of C sharp minor. But what he does is he stays out of the way of a lot of things by playing the triad first. So he's got this C sharp minor triad here. That's like C sharp, E, G sharp, all right? That's 11, 9, 9. And then he plays the fuller version of it. So it's like 1, 2. And then he goes right into a lick, but he's leaving space. So it's like 1, 2. That's what you want to be able to do. It's really easy to get caught up trying to play something flashy here, and he doesn't do that. He just plays something that keeps you listening and stays out of the way of the vocal line. So he's got the C sharp minor triad, and then he bars his index over the 9th fret first string as well. He gets a little bit fuller chord with that higher C sharp right there. So it's like 1, 2, and then right out of the minor pentatonic right here, he slides into the 11th fret, 9 on the 4th string, 11 on the 5th string, and then he bars. This is a very Hendrix type of move here. He bars 9 and 9, the B and the E on the 4th and 3rd string, hammers his ring finger onto the C sharp, which is the 11th fret of the 4th string. But he strums both, so you got a nice double stop lick. And then he takes that same lick and he moves it up to the 9th fret of the 5th and 4th string. That's your F sharp and B. So the first time you went, second time you went like that, and then he comes back and plays 9 and 9 right here. This is kind of a 4th sound, which is really cool. So is this. Kind of a modern type of a sound right there, and very Hendrix-y, very Stevie Ray Vaughan. So let's take a look at that again. 1, 2, and right. This is pro-level chord-lick-chord playing, all right? You've got to get this under your fingers so that you can start to feel comfortable with this. You got to make it sound smooth and cool so that you can do this in other keys and over different progressions. So I'm going to do this again. We've got the triad, then we've got the fuller C sharp minor chord, and then we slide into that 11th fret. I'm sliding just from 9 to 11 on the 5th string. That's your G sharp. And then 9 on the 4th, 11 on the 5th, barring 9 and 9 on the 4th and 3rd string. Hammers on. That's a nice double stop. Both the 3rd and the 4th string are ringing, but I hammer my ring finger on to the C sharp on the 11th fret 4th string. Move that up. Then I come back to 9 and 9, F sharp and B on the A and the D, and then I go down here, play the bass note of the A major chord in the E shape, play the upper kind of triad or upper structure of that chord. So it's like 1. You know, he loves to do the thumb. I'm just not good at using the thumb, so I'm just going to go like that, and then he comes up here and he gets back into, it's an E chord, right? But he comes in here and he hammers on 9 to 11, the F sharp to the G sharp, which is the major third. This G sharp is the major third out of this E in the G shape, if you know your cage. If you don't, I'm running $50 off my entire Uncaged course, which will break down all of the stuff inside and out on how to use cage and how to really weave in and out of changes so you have no more questions as to where you're at or what scale to play when you're there. So $50 off right now. That link is in the description. So what he's doing here is this bit, 1, 2, A chord, and then he hammers on 9 to 11 here, that C sharp, and then he finishes the phrase. Take a look at the tab right there. So he goes 9 and 9 on the 4th and 3rd string, 11 on the 5th, 9 on the 5th, 12 on the 6th, and then he comes back here and he resolves it to that C sharp bass note on the 6th string, 9th fret. So those first two measures, you got the C sharp and over the C sharp, then he does the C sharp minor pentatonic, little Hendrixy thing, A major, so a chord, a lick, and then a chord, and then a lick, right? So that whole thing, 1, 2. And then he resolves back to this C sharp on the 9th fret. So let's take a look at the second line. So after he finishes going, now you're right into the second line of the verse. So here he just plays this bass note, 9th fret, that C sharp, and then the rest of the C sharp minor chord right here in the E minor shape. Of course, he does the thumb, but I'm not doing that because I'm not great at it. So same situation here, but even less notes, all right? So he goes C sharp root, rest of that bar chord, and then right out of the C sharp minor pentatonic, 11th fret of the 5th string, 9 and 9 on the 4th and 3rd string, which we just used, so he's repeating ideas, 11, 11 again here, right? And then he slides down to the A bass note, A chord up on the upper structure of the strings, 1 through 4, and then he comes back and he does the same thing, except this time when he goes here, he hits the 6th string, bars 9 and 9 on the 4th and 3rd string. This gets you back to the E major again, which once again is outlining this G shape of E major by hitting the 3rd right here of this little triad. So boom, just like that. So you saw just now what the next part is, all right? So up to that point, what do we have? We got triad, fuller chord, Hendrix, and that took us to where we were at just now, right? So you got to get this stuff super smooth. So that 3rd and 4th bar was after you did the, right, out of that C sharp minor, 9th fret of the 6th string, rest of the C sharp minor chord, and then 11, 9 and 9, 11, 11, A, and then back to this triad, that G sharp of that E major triad in the G shape, right? Except for that time, he barred 9 and 9 on the 4th and 5th string. And then he slides real quick from that 11th fret down to 9, 7, 9, 7, and then he ends up back on a C sharp tonic right here, all right? So that 3rd and 4th measure, 1, 2, 3, 4, and just like that. So these are all things that you can incorporate into your playing. Notice the space that he's leaving. Notice where he's playing the triads, where he's playing the lines, and everything is super simple. He's only playing one note most of the time, and then maybe 4 notes to fill in into the next chord. So let's just look at the last 4 measures of this. We got the C sharp minor, rest of the chord, and he did the exact same lick again we just did. He just repeated the same thing he did 3 measures ago. Bass note, chord, and he does it again, same move, right? Because if it sounds good once, you need to play it again. And then he ends up on the C sharp minor root again, plays just the upper 3 notes, which is a C sharp minor on the 9th fret. That's an E, G sharp, and a C sharp. And then here's how he finishes it. You know how it sounds. He plays the vocal line here. Just like that. So what did he do there? He matched the vocal line with his guitar part right here. So the last bit before he goes into the pre-chorus, 1, 2, and And then he walks down with just like thirds. 9 and 11, that's C sharp and E. That outlines that chord. This outlines a piece of the scale, 9 and 8, and that's on the 4th and the 3rd string. 11 and 11, that's a G sharp and a C sharp. 9 and 9 on the 5th and the 4th string, that's a F sharp and a B. And then he goes to an A, kind of a cool voicing here. He changes it every time, but I like this voicing. This is an A major 7th right here, and this is 5, 4, 6, just like that. It kind of sounds like Deftones. And then an E major triad with the bass note in there. That's out of the C shape of E major. So that's like I'm just playing the triad, 7 on the 5th, 6 on the 4th, 4 on the 3rd, and he plays the 6th string with it, right? So that's just like that. So that entire verse, there's so much happening here that you really need to learn from. So as you can see, none of these licks are that complex. In fact, they're meant to be simple. They're meant to be very melodic, leaving space so that you can hear how one chord connects to the next. You're letting the chords create the melody. This is just great guitar playing. It forces you to be able to know how much time you have between chord to chord and how you connect them with chord tones and or the pentatonic scale. You want to be able to steal this for your own playing. So let me show you exactly how you can do that. So just take those 3 chords, C sharp minor, A, and E, right? But put your own licks in between, using the same timing that he uses in that song, but your own stuff. So like 1, 2. Now, one trick is to make sure you get that bass note can really, if you get there early or like right on time with the chord, it gives you time to hit the bass note and get the rest of the chord, and that can really help with connecting everything. So here's a practice challenge for you. Do this yourself. Take the same progression and don't do any more than like 3 or 4 notes in between each of the chords. And remember, you're doing chord, 2 or 3 notes, land on a chord, 2 or 3 notes back to the next chord, hopefully on a chord tone, all right, each time. That's the formula. Use the provided backing track, link in description. All these diagrams and tabs will be down there as well. The progression is going to be on a loop. Just practice it and make sure that you can start to incorporate this stuff for yourself. Focus on space, focus on smooth transitions, and you want to record yourself and listen back. Dissect what sounded good, what didn't, and that is where growth actually happens. So that's the difference between just learning songs and knowing how to play guitar. John Mayer didn't become John Mayer by only learning intros of songs. He mastered the fretboard, triads, pentatonics, major minor scales, and he mastered what happens in between chords. If you found this lesson helpful, please consider liking and subscribing. Share this channel with anyone you think might be interested in breaking out of their intermediate guitar rut. That's what I do, and I'm here to help you get there, all right? So make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.